Miracle Week, Chapter 13. Wake up, we fall again. Can't believe they stuffed you out of that last point, Izuku mumbled after the recording ended. Of course that's what you'd focus on, Hitoshi said indignantly, playfully shoving Izuku as the other boy laughed. Hitoshi wasn't sure what he was expecting when he was going to UA. What he definitely wasn't expecting was walking in on a boy who resembled an angry Pomeranian, yelling at a man who was moving like a robot. Get your feet off the desk. That is very unhero-like behavior. The boy with glasses chopped his hand up and down, and the blond boy scoffed. Fuck off and die, Four Eyes. I'll do whatever the hell I want. Don't use such foul language, Glasses reprimanded the blonde. Don't get up in everyone's faces because they aren't following the rules to a T, the blonde responded gruffly. What the hell? Hitoshi started, but was cut off by another yell. Shinso, I'm glad you made it. You kicked that robot's ass. Hitoshi turned to see Denki there, a wide grin on his face. Behind him was a girl with pink skin and hair and two small horns. Hold up! This is the dude that beat the 0-pointer? She squealed. Several people looked up at him, and Hitoshi wanted to sink into the ground. The explosive blonde stood up and strode towards him, small explosions popping in his palms. You're the kid that beat me in the entrance exam, huh? He looked Hitoshi up and down, oddly calm for the aura he was getting off. I'm gonna kick your ass. Before Hitoshi could respond, a voice sounded from the doorway. Well, you all are quite friendly, but if that's your only goal, then get the hell out of my classroom. Everyone looked to the doorway, and upon seeing nobody, looked down. Lying on the floor was a very exhausted man in a yellow sleeping bag. The man unzipped it and stepped out, revealing to Hitoshi that he was Eraserhead, his favorite hero as a kid, and the person Izuku has been tormenting for a year and a half. Holy shit, what the hell was his luck? And walked to the pedestal in front of the class as everyone hurried to their seats. 8 seconds. It took 8 seconds for you all to quiet down. Time spent like that is time wasted. My name is Aizawa Shota, otherwise known as the Pro Hero Eraserhead, and I'm going to be your homeroom teacher. Meet me on the training field in 10 minutes. June uniforms are in the locker rooms. Aizawa turned and walked out of the classroom, the class following close behind. Hitoshi had a feeling that not everyone present was ready. Update! Not everyone present was ready. Bakugou was set up to throw the ball first. Bakugou, you will throw the first, as he got second in the entrance exam, Aizawa said, clearly taking pleasure at the explosive boy's aggressive muttering. And upon his throw of 705.2 meters, someone said something about it being fun. And Hitoshi tried not to wince. That's a surefire way to piss a teacher off, he thought grimly. Fun. You think this is fun? How's a little risk to add to the fun? Whoever gets last place is expelled. Fun. You think this is fun? How's a little risk to add to the fun? Whoever gets last place is expelled. As soon as Aizawa finished that sentence, the class changed from excited to downright terrified. During the tests, everyone was horrified. Hitoshi was able to take advantage and brainwash a girl with a zero-gravity quirk to use her quirk on him before the run, making him get a time that was near superhuman, warranting a few excited questions from his classmates. Whoa, dude! You have a speed quirk or something? Denki asked as soon as Hitoshi finished the dash. In the background, Uraraka released her quirk on herself. and Hitoshi felt his gravity return. I do CrossFit, he deadpanned. Other than that, the tests were uneventful until the ball throw. Hitoshi watched the kids throw the ball, looking for who'd get the longest distance. In the end, it was that zero gravity girl with a score of infinity. How the hell is the girl with an invisibility quirk supposed to compete with this? Hitoshi sighed internally and formed his plan. Hitoshi walked up to the last pitch. Hitoshi walked up to the pitch last and took the ball in his hand. He grasped it hard, brought his hand back to throw it, and then stopped. He turned to the crowd with a confused look on his face. Hey, Gravity Girl, what's your name again? The brunette in question pointed to herself in confusion and responded when Hitoshi nodded. Uh, I'm... She was cut off as Hitoshi took control, and her pupils faded to a dull hazel. She was cut off as Hitoshi took control, and her pupils faded to a dull hazel. Activate your quirk on this ball, he commanded the girl. She walked forward and touched the ball with all 5 fingers, and Hitoshi lazily chucked the ball and watched it soar along with the rest of the class. After a moment, Aizawa turned the device around to show a large infinity symbol, and Hitoshi nodded. Release your quirk. Release. Uraraka mumbled as she put her fingers together. Hitoshi relinquished control, and the girl's eyes went wide as her pupils returned. Before anyone could say anything, a boy with blue hair spoke while chopping his arms aggressively. Aizawa-sensei, surely that isn't allowed. He used outside help. It isn't fair. The boy's protests were cut off by Aizawa's hand going up as a warning to be quiet. All I said was that he had to stay in the circle. Heroics isn't about being fair. If you have the opportunity to ambush someone as dishonorable as it is, you take that opportunity. Shinso was using his quirk and the resources available to him in order to be the best that he can. Aizawa turned to Hitoshi and stared at the boy. That's exactly what I'd expect from the kid who placed first on the entrance exam. Good job, kid. Of course, Sensei, my apologies, the robotic kid replied, chopping his arms. After all the tests were said and done, Hitoshi looked at the board. 14th place isn't that bad, gonna be honest, Hitoshi thought. In the corner of his eye, he saw the invisible girl crying as she was comforted by the girl who made a whole-ass rocket launcher during the ball throw. Hitoshi saw a nearly unnoticeable look of pity on Aizawa's face when he looked at the invisible girl before he steeled his expression and looked forward. By the way, that was a logical ruse. Nobody's getting nor was ever getting expelled for placing last. That was a method to bring out the best in you. Hitoshi didn't believe it for a second. That man was completely ready to expel the person who got last. He probably just didn't want to expel someone with good drive and a good quirk just because it wasn't flashy. Good on him for knowing how to teach. After lunch, the class was looking forward to had finally arrived. Foundational heroics. He could finally show that he deserved to be in the hero course. Silently, he wondered if fate would be cruel enough to pair him up against the explosive boy who already had a grudge against him, or worse, the electric boy he definitely didn't have a crush on. Nope, not Hitoshi. If he was honest with himself, the only thing worse than that would be if his teacher was, I am here, coming through the door like a normal person. I am here, coming through the door like a normal person. All Might burst through the door, admittedly not at all like a normal person, in his Silver Age costume. If his teacher was All Might. Fate was definitely cruel enough to pair Hitoshi up against both the explosive boy and the electric boy, because motherfucking All Might was his heroics teacher. The man most likely didn't even have a teaching license, and yet everyone was so goddamn excited for him to teach. There was no way that There was no way this would end any way other than poorly. Chapter 14. Boy oh boy. The hero versus villain training begins. Also, Shinso's outfit is revealed. Hitoshi was pretty damn proud of Mei for what she did with his costume. He had two elbow-high fingerless gloves that weren't modeled after a certain vigilante's with black and purple stripes, a black short-sleeved shirt that made with extremely strong cloth, long black pants with several first aid items in them, and black combat boots. Over his face, he had a mask with persona cords so that he could mimic anyone's voice. A key difference between his and Izuku's mask, Izuku's only had a voice changer. Around both his gloves were two ribbons, each about half the length of Aizawa's capture scar. Above his second knuckles were thin blades that could pop out, like cat claws. Huh. She did listen. Everyone else was in pretty standard costumes, barring Sparkles and Ingenium 2.0. They looked like they were in full suits of armor as they walked towards All Might. The man beamed and explained the exercise, and really, making students pretend they're villains? What a way to make self-confidence skyrocket, All Might. And pulled out lots for teams to draw. Hitoshi prayed that what to and pulled out lots to draw for the teams. Hitoshi prayed that whatever god was out there had some sort of mercy on him, and Team A is Shinso and Kaminari. All Might interrupted his thoughts. Alright, not Bakugou. That's good. The man probably doesn't have a single cooperative bone in his body. Hitoshi just silently hopes that the Kaminari boy didn't hate him. Upon feeling something poke him in the shoulder, he turned around to see Denki smiling wildly at him. Hitoshi's eyes widened for a moment before he sighed. Your last name is Kaminari, isn't it? Yep, the electric boy replied excitedly. Hitoshi put his hand on his forehead, sighing fondly. Kid couldn't even leave him alone. Well, at least he doesn't have to do this exercise with Bakugou. Team A and Team D were up against each other. Team A consisted of Hitoshi and Denki. Should he call him Kaminari now? While Team D consisted of Ida and Bakugou. Hitoshi facepalmed. That's it. I'm an atheist now. At least Team A were the heroes. Think about the little victories. What was that? Denki Kaminari asked him. They were standing outside the building, planning and waiting for the bomb to be hidden by the villains. Nothing. Do you have a plan? Hitoshi asked, and the boy shook his head. Sorry, I'm strategically challenged. Hitoshi paced, thinking before getting an idea. All Might never said he couldn't ask for outside help, right? 1 second, I have to make a call. Hitoshi pulled out his phone and clicked on a contact, letting it ring for a moment before it picked up. Hitoshi quickly put it on speaker. Hey, Izuku. Hitoshi, what the actual fuck? I'm trying to make blueprints for a grenade. Denki looked at Hitoshi and the phone like they were a bomb, which, knowing Izuku, could very well be true. Plus, you're in class right now. What the hell are you doing calling me? Heroics training. Listen, can you analyze some quirks real quick and give me a battle plan? Hitoshi asked, and Izuku hummed in agreement. Great. First one is an engine quirk. He has engines in his calves. Tenya Ida, right? Ingenium's little brother. The kid's gotta stick up his ass, but he knows how to fight. He can move very fast, but without much precision due to a lack of training. Just dodge around him and have a plan to get out of capture. Next. The next one is a kid with an explosion quirk that comes out of his palms. Hitoshi waited for a moment before Izuku broke into laughter. Oh god, this is gonna be easy. He'll go right for you. You beat him in the entrance exam. He needs to prove himself after all. Then he'll swing a right hook at you as soon as he sees you, probably shouting an insult as he does so. It'll be hard to miss him. If you can't brainwash him, great, problem solved. Seeing as he probably knows your quirk, though, he won't respond easily. He's a stubborn asshole who relies too much on his quirk. Just stay away from his palms and play defensive. How the hell does your friend know so much about Bakugou, dude? Kaminari asked, utterly lost at the conversation. No clue. But the dude's an expert analyst. If he says the plan will work, it'll work. Hitoshi turned his direction back to the phone. By the way, Todoroki's in this class. You shut your damn mouth if you know what's good for you, Shinso. Izuku hissed over the phone. Okay, I'm sorry. Please don't put me on your naughty list or whatever the fuck you call it. Hitoshi laughed. Izuku grumbled something and hung up, leaving a confused Kaminari. What the hell was that? Kaminari asked, utterly lost. Hitoshi was about to reply when he got a text detailing a plan to win. Somehow he found out that Kaminari was on his team, using everything he had at his disposal. That was the best goddamn brainstorming session you'll ever catch me being a part of, Hitoshi smirked. Now, the plan. Begin. As soon as All Might's voice rang through the speakers, Hitoshi and Kaminari dashed in. The plan was simple. Find Bakugou, brainwash Bakugou, find the bomb, brainwash Ida. Simple. Easy plan. Absolutely no way it could go wrong. And that's exactly where it went wrong. About a minute into the exercise, Bakugou turned the corner to be met face to face with the two boys. Kaminari was about to step forward before Hitoshi put an arm out. You go ahead and look for the bomb. I'll brainwash him and catch up. Worst case scenario, I kick his ass. Kaminari nodded and ran to the stairs, bounding up them. Bakugou dashed towards Hitoshi, drawing back his right fist in preparation for a right hook. Hitoshi parried the punch, swinging the explosive boy over his shoulder and slamming him into the concrete of the building. He got into a fighting position while the explosive boy stood up with a groan and assumed a similar position. Stay down, Bakugou. Are we clear? Bakugou was silent. Hitoshi huffed out a breath of annoyance. Fine, we'll do this the hard way, he said, flinging the capture weapon around his left hand around the explosive boy's waist. As he brought back his arm, dragging Bakugou along with him, he threw a right hook that nailed the other boy directly in the face, knocking him a few feet away. Bakugou scrambled up and used his explosions to propel himself forward towards Hitoshi. Hitoshi dodged to the side and tried using his quirk. Oh, come on, Bakugou. Can't even hit me? I'm practically fighting quirkless. Bakugou visibly stiffened at that, but said nothing. Odd. Hitoshi took the opportunity of the explosive boy being still for once and threw his right capture weapon around Bakugou's waist. As he tore his arm back, flinging Bakugou towards him, the explosive boy regained his composure. He placed his right hand on the weapon and used his left hand to propel himself over Hitoshi. He blasted the brainwasher in the back, sending him stumbling forward from the force. Hitoshi stumbled to stand, placing a hand to his ear. Kaminari, what's your status? Just found the bomb, dealing with Ida right now. Kaminari responded, clearly focused. Hitoshi nodded despite the electric boy not being able to see him. Hitoshi was about to vocally confirm, but Bakugou interrupted him. You know, I hope the support department actually did a decent job with my costume. Bakugou held up his hand, pointing his palm at Hitoshi. These gauntlets aren't just for show, you know. They store up my nitroglycerin like sweat. He curled his outstretched hand into a fist, and Hitoshi realized what the gauntlets were for. Bakugou only confirmed his fears. I can use them to release a blast that would be too large for me to use safely without them. Bakugou, what the hell are you saying? Hitoshi tried, only to be met by a feral grin by Bakugou. His finger curled around the pin in his gauntlet, about to pull it.
Young Bakugou, don't use that indoors. If you do, you'll lose instantly. Or worse, you'll kill him.
All Might said sternly. Bakugou didn't look deterred. He won't die if he dodges, he shouted, a violent glint in his voice. As he pulled the pin, seemingly in slow motion, Hitoshi tried to dodge out of the way. He tried, but there were no hallways nearby, none that he could safely get to. His safest option was to dive away from the blast and lay on the floor. As he slid across the floor, Bakugou pulled the pin. As the explosion sounded out, Hitoshi closed his eyes in anticipation, only for the explosion to not even come close to him. Denki was expecting a fight with Ida. He was expecting to either lose his wattage limit or get captured instantly. What he was not expecting was, as soon as he dashed forward in a vain attempt to try and touch the bomb before Ida could react, he was interrupted by All Might's voice.
Young Bakugou, don't use that indoors. If you do, you'll lose instantly. Or worse, you'll kill him.
He said sternly. Use what? Denki thought curiously. His answer was promptly given to him, more like thrust violently into his hands, when the floor crumbled from under him with a violent burst of heat. As he stood up from the rubble with a groan, he brushed off his costume and looked around. In front of him was Bakugou, rubbing his shoulder in pain. He spun around to see Shinso covered in dust and groaning. His leg was stuck under the rubble. Before anyone could say anything, the brainwasher sat up with a light groan of pain. The brainwasher sat up with a light groan of pain. Did you have to break my leg, Pop Rocks? The fuck? Bakugou's anger was cut off by Shinso brainwashing him, making the explosive boy quiet for the first time since Denki had met him. Tie yourself up in surrender, Shinso commanded. Bakugou tied himself up with the capture tape, slumping against the wall as not to put pressure on his left foot as he stood shakily. You ready to get the bomb, Sparks? Denki grinned at the other boy. Of course. Okay, so I'm recording this part the 6th of February right now. I don't know when this episode will be up, but I have to let you guys know. So a lot of the MCU pod or podfics I listen to and fanfics I read are more. Ooh, someone messed with my mic. Are more. How do you say? They're more after the snap, right? And so it's a lot of like dealing with the aftermath of the snap and Peter dealing with being forgotten about, right? I was thinking about it today and I was thinking about the snap is inherently bad. There's not really a good part to it, right? However, I was thinking about the tiny good parts to it. Like the mom who's trying to get her and her 3 kids away from her abusive husband or any abusive partner, abuse victim trying to get away from their abuser, and the blip helps them out because it's been 5 years and they're able to get away. And then I thought about the the little girl who has cancer or the little boy who has cancer whose mother or father are like geneticists or whatever you call the people who are working to cure specific cancers, who they're close, and they just need a few more years that their kids don't have. And then their kids are gone in the snap. And they keep they can't just stop searching for a cure. So they keep looking and they keep looking, and finally they find the cure, and then their kid is back. And I can't stop thinking about all the small little stories, the like good little stories that happen from the blip. Even if these people came back, I don't know. I keep thinking about it and I can't stop now. But I cried at work today because of it. And because I got yelled at. But that's another story for a different time. Oh, and another thing. This is happier, I promise. Okay. So, if you've ever read Broccoli and Hats or have listened to My Lost and Found, read Broccoli and Hats. If you haven't, go do that. I will put the links in a comment below. But if you haven't, if I haven't, then just comment. If I haven't, just comment and be like, hey, where are those links? I want to listen. But if you have, okay. So, in the part where they're talking and it's like, they mention Izuku having the greatest All Might quirk, right? Well, one day, when that, uh, video went up, I was at work. And I was listening to it at work. And I was with my coworker. And I was like putting away dishes, right? And I hear this. And all of a sudden I get this very and vivid, very vivid and like I heard his voice say it too. I get this very vivid image of Izuku and Night Eye getting into an argument, and Night Eye pointing at the poster, um, or pointing at a poster of a like very limited edition All Might merch, and he like has all the early editions and has all the, and then Izuku just goes, "Oh yeah, I have the greatest merch of all, his quirk." And I was just like I got that image, and it was just so sudden, and it was like I could hear the voice actor say it in like my ear, like yelling it in my ear. And I I started laughing so hard that I had fallen to the floor. I had a heart palpitation and I caused myself an asthma attack. My coworker legitimately thought I had like a seizure or I was dying because of it. That is how hard it got me. And so now you need to listen to it and you need to imagine that, because I still giggle hysterically over it every single time I hear that. All right, okay, really. This is goodbye unless I have bloopers, and then you can have the bloopers. Okay, I lied. That was not the last one. The last one is back in last year. Um January, February, March, and April, May. In May 5th, okay? I commented on a TikTok, 911 TikTok, and was like, the fact that he never met Abby and still hated her is so real, right? About it's a post about Eddie Diaz hating all of Buck's exes for like very little to no reason. He never met Abby until the train, and yet he still hated her. And I commented on it, and it has 10.3k likes. And that is the biggest comment I have ever made. And I keep reading the comments, and it's just so funny. It is so funny. And like compared to like all the other comments I'm seeing, I keep there's like one with 4,000 likes and like one with 1,000 likes, but I don't see one that has more than that. And I just die because I've never had like a comment that blow up that much and it was funny. Okay, now you get the bloopers because there is a blooper. Ooh, did you guys hear that crack? That was my elbow. That was fun. You know, you know, you know. God damn it. Okay. Bakugou speaking. You know, I hope the support. You know. You know, I hope the support department actually did a decent job with my costume. Bakugou held up his hand, pointing his palm at Titoshi. These gauntlets aren't just for show, you know. They store up on my nitro. You know, I hope the support department actually did a decent job with my costume. Bakugou held up his hand, pointing his palm at Hitoshi. These gauntlets aren't just for show, you know. They store up my nitroglycerin like sweat. He curled his outstretched hand into a fist, and Hitoshi realized what the gauntlets were for. Bakugou only confirmed his fears. I can use them to release a blast that would be too large for me to use safely without them. Bakugou, Bakugou, what the hell are you saying? Bakugou, what the hell are you saying? Hitoshi tried, only to be met by a fuck.